Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you happen to be watching this. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm using one of Green's writings, Hiroyoki Doi circle drawings, to talk a little bit about the cause and effect essay assignment for my class. I'm not sure necessarily that I have everything perfect here. I'm going to be stumbling a little bit more than I usually do, just because I think that there's some ambivalence in Green's writing, but I do think he does hit some important parts about cause and effect, or some things that can work in your cause and effect essay. And so I want to use this writing, this podcast episode to go through 4 or 5 things that I think would be important. Number one, provide warrants. Throughout this semester, I've talked about claim data warrant. A 2009 study published in Applied Cognitive Psychology found that people giving license to doodle recalled more information than non doodlers. I've got a cause, given license to doodle. I've got an effect, recalled more information than non doodlers. And then I've got the warrant, linking the cause to the effect, explaining why the cause could produce the effect. Perhaps because doodling requires just enough brain power to keep the mind from wandering. Obviously, your essay is more than one sentence. Obviously, your essay needs to go into way more detail than this one sentence does. But this one sentence has claim data warrant all in it, and it's something you need to remember as you're writing. A quick aside for my classes. For this paper in particular, the 2009 study, Applied Cognitive and Psychology, is probably enough of a citation. We're not doing a research paper, and the topics we have, certainly the speculative topics, don't require research. On the bad side, don't write everything you're thinking. Now, please, those of you who have had me write on your essays, avoid second person unless speaking directly to a reader or listener. I'm trying to speak directly to you, plural, students. I think the your is fine there. I do it for myself because it makes me happy. It makes me, not happy exactly, but engrossed. That's fine grammatically or mechanically. Rather, I'd prefer the ellipsis were gone, but this is fine. I think engrossed is what I really want to feel most of the time. I think he's a little bit on shakier ground here. He's starting to not define happy, he's not defining engrossed, he's not talking about the effect of being engrossed. He said, I write, I scribble, I doodle. That's the cause, it produces being engrossed. But where he really goes off the rails is when he starts talking about it's an ugly word, engrossed, for such a beatific experience. Awesome. I'm glad that that's happened. But the word doesn't cause the experience. The drawing causes the experience. It's sort of a, stream of consciousness. It's an effect that you can't really put in your writing and have it make sense unless you're doing a podcast where the stream of consciousness can lead you to a point down the road. You've got 2 to 5 pages. Stick to the subject matter. Cause, doodling. Effect, being engrossed. Distinguishing it from not happy is a perfectly fine thing to do. But don't go off on how engrossed is an ugly word. Other modes of development are necessary. On the previous slide, we had an attempt to define or at least give a synonym or to get more specific in describing the feeling. Here on the other side of monotony lies a flow state, a way of being that is just being. a present tense that actually feels present. He is giving a comparison. He is perhaps getting a little too zen for some of us, I don't know, but certainly he's trying to explain the flow state for us. Some of you who are doing the video game thing, perhaps video games produce that flow state. What exactly is it? How do you get into this frame of mind that just allows you to keep playing and playing and playing for hours? Is it a monotony? Is it something different? Other modes of development are necessary. He is basically doing a definition in this sentence, or at least, the comparison element of a definition in this sentence. Think about defining. Think about briefly using a narrative. And I'm going to emphasize one more time, briefly using a narrative as you're going through the cause and effect. I think it's okay, especially in the social media and mental health topic, the AI topic, to be ambivalent. For those of you who don't know what ambivalence is, I thought I would allow a bad grammarian to give us a good definition. Mixed feelings, contradictory ideas about something or someone. I have mixed feelings about AI. I think it can become a powerful tool. I also think it'll make it easy to cheat. I think it'll make it easy to deceive people. I think we have already seen bad actors exploit it by having it write code that can, create viruses. I'm ambivalent about it. There are some positive things that'll be great. There are some negatives that I think are going to be atrocious. But you can't be ambivalent in the same paragraph. I feel like the paper is better before we get a hold of it, when it is still wood. Writing produces that effect. Writing also produces the fact that he loves the marks that we leave. And he explains why they feel like gifts, signs, like trail markers in the wilderness. A wonderful metaphor, a wonderful description. That ambivalence is fine. I think all 4 of the essay topics allow for some ambivalence as you're thinking about your causes and effects. But do them in separate paragraphs. What's good because of the cause or the effect? What's bad? Separate paragraphs. Ambivalence is fine, but do it in separate paragraphs. Short, not shallow. And don't use the $20 word if the 50-cent word will do. Perhaps obsessive is a big word. Perhaps ultimately is a big word. But for the most part, Green here is using some common language. Scars, desire, make, have, do, say, go, get, ability, common, be. It's a huge point. It's a huge point that we have a desire to make and do stuff. We certainly have a desire to have stuff. Most of us don't listen anymore because we're in such a hurry to say something that we don't let other people finish. We don't even know how to be, perhaps. And if Ric Flair, the pro wrestler of decades, is to be believed, and he was super popular for a long time, we put be and action together more than we just put be as a state in and of itself. It's a huge, deep point that Green is making. He's using common language. Feel free to do the same thing. You don't have to use the $20 words. Just make it clear, simple, and direct. And then as you're going, think about again the cause and effects. Always think about the why. This, once again, is another very, very deep point. We know that none of our marks will truly last. You know, everything we own will eventually become somebody else's garbage. And so I think it's important that none of the marks will last, but we keep making stuff. We keep seeking relief wherever we can find it. Again, it's a deep point. And if you take a look at his language on this slide in particular, unless the word scribbling is deep and big and huge and a $20 word, everything is very, very simple. And there's nothing wrong with keeping it simple as long as you make the point complete. Finally, questions are a good start. Green asks the questions: why have I signed my name 500,000 times? Why has Doi spent the last 40 years drawing tiny circles? How has this effect? What would happen? Why would it happen? A list of 20 questions and then trying to answer the questions is a great place to start. Think about questions. How did it happen? Why did it happen? How might it happen? Why could it happen this way for the speculative ones? I hope this has been helpful, at least a little bit. Hope to see you all in class the next class period. Have a wonderful day.